Hi, I'm Mildred.
And I'm Mary.
Welcome back to Talkin' with Eminem. Today, August 19th, 1920, will go down as one of the most iconic dates in history for women.
Yes, Mildred, indeed it will be. Yesterday, the 19th Amendment was passed, and women officially have the right to vote.
This is a major step for women in history. I'm very proud to be a woman in this era.
I second that, Mildred. So when did this movement all begin? I think it's time for some Throwback Thursday.
Let's travel back in time. The suffrage movement was first drafted in 1878 by Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, 30 years after the Seneca Falls Convention. The idea for women's rights started to gain popularity in the U.S. soon after this.
The Women's Suffrage Act was proposed in 1878, and it mirrors the 19th Amendment exactly. In 1887, the first vote on the amendment was taken to the Senate, however quickly defeated.
This act worked as a catalyst for women to stand up for their rights, causing states to recognize their demands.
Immediately upon getting the news yesterday that the Tennessee House had ratified the Women's Suffrage Amendment to the federal Constitution, Miss Alice Paul, chairman of National Women's Party, and other suffrage workers asked Secretary of State Colby to issue the proclamation declaring the adoption of the amendment as part of the Constitution as soon as official notification had been received of the affirmation given by the state of Tennessee.
On that note, Carrie Chapman Catt has been working on a league for women to take voting one step further to help women take on a larger role in public affairs. She calls it the League of Women Voters. For the 20 million women carrying out their new responsibilities, this league is a platform for them to branch out on their new world experiences.
These women are truly stepping up and forever changing our country. They are not only an inspiration for us, but for all the women around the world and little girls hoping to make an impact on the world.
Now we would like to welcome Alice Paul here to give us her view on women's rights and what is to come in the future.
It is always an honor to be able to speak out about the rights women have deserved, but it is incredible to me that any woman should consider the fight for full equality won. It has just begun. We cannot settle for the right to vote. We have to push forward and make even more advances towards equality.
So how specifically are you taking steps towards empowering this female movement?
I have plans to further the National Women's Party because I think the most important thing is to ensure that women are equal to men and all have the same rights, not just men.
Are there any concerns about the fight that has already been happening so far? Are there any setbacks?
I believe that many activists fear that if they back the desire for equal rights, then the protective legislation that we have worked so hard to get will be lost.
Can you give us some examples of these amazing strides towards total equality?
Well, we have been fighting, and although little, some change has been made and legislation has been passed regarding wages and working conditions.
Before the amendment was passed, you said, "We women of America tell you that America is not a democracy. 20 million women are denied the right to vote. How will you continue to encourage women to participate in this movement?"
The Women's Party is made up of all races, creeds, and nationalities who are united on the one program of working to raise the status of women. We need to stick together and fight as a united front to gain these rights we deserve.
Thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any last words of advice for the women listening?
When you put your hand to the plow, you can't put it down until you get to the end of the row. Keep going and don't stop fighting.
Now we have Earl Dickinson, who is the founder of Band-Aid. He is going to talk about his new product that just went on the market.
Thank you for having me. The Band-Aid was officially released 2 months ago in June. It is revolutionary for medicine and is the newest form of first aid. My product is an adhesive bandage with an absorbent setter to cover your wounds. It is very simple to use. All you need to do is cut off the piece you need, remove the protective covering, and apply it to the wound. This will protect your wound from any germs and bacteria from your daily activities. It is economical, handy, and aseptic. You can find it all at all your local stores. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us, Earl. We would like to thank our listeners once again for tuning into our show today. Women's suffrage is one of the most important topics that we will ever discuss on our show. The 19th Amendment is only the beginning of a larger women's movement to come. We strongly believe that with wonderful women like Alice Paul stepping up, making a change, and encouraging others to join in with her, leads me to believe that our country's future is filled with more victory for women. I am filled with pride being a woman in this era, and am more than thrilled that we are allowed to take risks on the show, covering some controversial topics of our time. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.